What up, y'all? We back. We are here for our continued series, the predictions for 2023, doing our month-by-month look ahead for the year. For the last several years, I have early in the year done a month-by-month reading for myself to kind of give myself a look ahead and get an idea of like the timeline or the outline of the story of the year, maybe some themes that I'll be working with as far as my spiritual growth and those kind of soul level assignments. And so these are the decks that I've been using pretty much during that process. And so I started doing last year a playlist for you guys on the channel. So right now I have up until August posted in a playlist on the channel called 2023 Predictions, so you can go see it there. And then there's also a workshop that gives just a general overview of the year with some really practical spiritual tools that you can use to help you workshop through your day-to-day. It'll be like a game changer for you. If you put these tools to action through the year, oh my gosh, you won't believe what a difference it will make. So, that being said, yeah, you can even go back and save these like 2023 month-by-month videos in a playlist to reference for yourself, or you can just remember to go back and look at my channel. But otherwise, let's get going. If you like my videos, like this video, comment, leave me an emoji, share it, save it in a playlist. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Every action that you take on these videos or on my channel helps me get out into the algorithm. It helps me grow this platform for others so that they can find these messages too. So share me with the world. Don't keep me a secret. All right, let's get to it. Also, if you'd like to support my work, there is a link in the description box below to my PayPal or my Venmo, if you so choose. Okay, the Village. Interesting. So we've started with an archetypal theme for the month of September. And this is interesting because the month of August is flavored by the rigorous self-inventory of Virgo in preparation for the month of September, which is Rosh Hashanah. And I think it's 10 days after Rosh Hashanah is Yom Kippur. And so that should be happening in September. Sometimes it's like September and then Yom Kippur is October. I didn't look at the calendar and I meant to before we started. But this is interesting because during Rosh Hashanah, this is like the head of the year. This is the birthday of all humankind, all the souls of humanity were birthed on this one day. And so it's centered around our consciousness and our growth and our return every year to see, to reflect, to see if we have been on track with our spiritual growth and evolution and goals and our soul correction and with our own personal goals as well. So this is interesting because every year we set out on a new and fresh journey during this period of time, which requires, a lot of process where you evaluate yourself and you go through these rigorous, processes of self-inventory and self-reflection and testing over these few weeks. And so what that does is it prepares you by looking at the year behind you honestly, evaluating where you are in this moment, and then setting yourself up in the utmost success to start on with a fresh foot forward, going forward into the new year ahead of you with a new soul. We get a new soul every year during this time. And so we have a new chance every year to heal our soul from starting off from a clean slate. And it just goes downhill from there. So it makes sense that September being the like Hebrew New Year, we have the village. And the village is an archetypal place where we come from, where we have our origin story, where all of our programming is uploaded. And it's the place that's our comfort zone. It's what we know. It's where we've been nourished and looked after and supported, right? It's our crutch. It's our prop. But the hero, when the hero gets the call to adventure, the hero has to leave the village. They leave the status quo, the current level of consciousness that they have known and they've been submerged in. And they go beyond those limited borders to expand their consciousness, to elevate, to have new experiences, to be pushed out of their comfort zone into unknown territory, right? To be a beginner again, to set out once again into a dark and murky and shadowy forest as a novice, full of awe and wonder and curiosity and vulnerability, danger. And so, yeah, the village, you know, it's like, what do we take with us as far as our roots that are true, that are authentic to us, those core values that are really like in alignment with us truly and honestly? And what is it that's not really authentically aligned with us that we're ready to leave in the village? When Jesus set out on his ministry, it was a fairly bold move, because in those days, if you were a prophet and a healer, it was very beneficial to families and the family of the prophet and the healer. And people, you just set up shop and people would come to you, like you see now, like with the saints and the crying statues and things, and people line up around to like see the miracle. So they would set up like that to support the family, and the family would support the prophet, and it became like this like economy. But Jesus didn't want to limit the message to those who had the means to come to him. He wanted to take the gospel out into the world, out beyond the village, out where the people needed him the most, right? The people across the lake, the Gentiles, you know, the sick, the wayward, the diseased, the immoral, the people who were lonely or forgotten about or left behind or lost, or even just people who were hungry and willing and open to receive truth. Jesus went out and tried to liberate women and teach them and allow them to come into the ministry. He wanted them to get out of the kitchen and into, you know, the church. And so the women who followed him had to rebel against the norm. They had to leave the village. And just like Mary Magdalene, her family was ashamed because she acted out in rebellion against the norm. She did something that would have considered ruinous to her and her family by leaving the village, by going and gallivanting around with these men, this group of men, and she's out camping with them and going and breaking bread with questionable characters, and they're taking on these radical ideas, and they're ruffling feathers, and they're getting the attention from people in dangerously powerful places. You gotta leave the village. And it's never something where people are like, yeah, you go, leave this village. People are like, no, you can't leave the village. You're betraying us. You're in the wrong. You're, wayward. The village people don't get it. They're not supposed to. Everyone is set up in their own avatar to have their own village, right? That they have to leave. That they have to go out of, have their own experience in that call to adventure to get that, your own personal treasure from the alchemist. And you bring that back with you, that boon, to the village to then embody it and share it with others, right? So that you can then uplift your village as well and expose them to the experience, you know, to the vibration of the experience that you've been exposed to. So it becomes part of the zeitgeist that you bring back when you've embodied, you know, what you've taken from out, you know, outside. So you take with you what's true, what's part of your roots, what are your true core values, and you leave behind the rest. And Abraham had to do this too. Abraham was called by God to leave his father's house, to leave his father's tribe and go out and in search of his own promised lands that he said, you know, God gave him a prophecy that he would be like the father of many nations and it would have like unimaginable, you know, wealth and possession. And it wasn't until Abraham left his father's house that he was enlightened to the truth of the God that we know as the God of Abraham, the God of the Abrahamic religions. And that started what would later become Judaism, you know? And then what would later develop into the different, you know, expressions of Judaism, and then, you know, would develop further into Christianity and the different branches off of that, and mysticism. But really earlier even than that, like, and from Abraham, the Kabbalah has been passed down orally, and it's been the deepest interpretation of the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah. It's like the esoteric, metaphysical interpretation of the breakdown of spiritually what's going on underneath the cryptic language of the Bible. It's like the encoded message, right? So the village is going to be a big key here. I think it's going to be figuring out, like, preparing ourselves once more to set out again from the village that we've come to know this year, right? This year has been it's like been this portal of beginning, this introduction into this new life, and it's been sort of like these initiations in stages, right? And it's like we're being initiated into a tribe. We're almost finding like a new village that we're being initiated into, right? Through trials, through our tests of strength and courage and bravery and truth and value. So, yeah, very interesting. Let's refer to this. I'm just going to probably use the books here because these particular decks I don't use often, but I use specifically for these readings, and I don't want us to miss anything that is very poignant that might be specifically from the book. The village, the hometown, the family, the tribe. It's always crazy when it just says what I just said, because I don't know these well enough to like remember the text. It's so crazy. The village presents us with a conundrum. On one hand, it's the place that feels most like home, the place to which you can always return. Nostalgia and comfort draw us back. On the other hand, it's the very place you must leave in order to grow. Around the village, an unspoken boundary exists, one most villagers do not want you to cross. Oh yeah, remember that? We talked about that just a second ago. Nobody's like cheering you on to leave the village. Though some support your leaving, hold on, I'm gonna start from the beginning of that sentence. Okay, around the village is an unspoken boundary exists, one most villagers do not want you to cross. Though some support your leaving, still you hear whispers of doubt as you venture beyond its borders, leaving them behind. The energy of the village is present anytime we feel restricted by a certain group, community, family, place, or ideology. It may have served us in the past, yet staying within its parameters will never satiate our thirst for life. Thank the village for all it has provided, knowing you will someday return, but for now, the world awaits. Now this is interesting to me because throughout this year, I think that we've had these themes, particularly in May, about having to stand up for who we are and our authenticity and not bend to the way that others will wag their finger because we have not stayed in the line of tradition, of expectation. We've colored outside the lines. We have been taboo. We've been scandalous. How dare we have the audacity to, not fall in line with everyone else. And so people were, throwing shade and giving us heat through the year. We've had to constantly stand up for ourselves and stand our ground and say, no, this is me. I am following my call to leave the village. And if you don't like it, then this is not aligned for us anymore. It's not going to work. So I'll see you when I come back and forth to visit the village maybe. But, if you're not willing to grow and evolve, or at least accept my growth and evolution and who I am in my authenticity, then it's not a match. And this might be with new people, like new suitors coming in and out of our life this year, because there were kind of some themes that made me think that this was going to be an issue, that these romantic opportunities this year may not be like the end all be all. They might be tests leading us to prove that we have determined who we are and we're not going to be completely absorbed or disappear into another person. And so we kind of have to test our strength this year so that when we do meet something that is as deep and strong as a true soulmate, that we can, be strong enough to create the vessel that can contain that love by taking our time, by being true to ourselves, and by loving ourselves first and letting that person get into our priorities gradually, And so there might be an issue where the people in your life, whether they be your family, maybe some of your acquaintances, or, maybe lovers or suitors or whatnot, who are wishing that you were less complex, easier to, maybe, they're worried about saving face. Maybe you're outspoken and they want someone more, less intimidating or whatever. They're going to want you to dim. They're going to want you to be more convenient for them, and you're not going to do it because you know better. You've already left the village enough times to know that there's nothing if somebody's not willing to come with you out of the village, then you're probably not going to have that much in common with them, essentially. So it may come to this moment in September where you're like, okay, look, I'm stepping out into a new journey, into a new adventure, and you can either come with me or you can stay back behind with the village. But my consciousness is expanding, and I need people around me that are going to evolve and expand and grow with me. And be inspiring. Okay, let's see what goddess energy is going to be a good archetypal support. Ooh, Athena, knowledge. So again, following right on these themes, it's like we're evaluating all of our personal growth journey through the year and our journey to self-discovery. And we're, taking all the wisdom that we have attained until now, and we're starting to embody that, right? We have gone back to the village and we've let it set and we've regrouped, and now we're ready to go out on a new adventure, and we're ready to put into practice what we've been learning, the lessons that we have been experiencing through this year, through the year before, the ones that we've been implementing this year. We're really finally starting to embody that, and we're starting the year from a place of embodying that, rather than last year when we started the year aiming to embody this, right? It's like, okay, now we've rehearsed and we're starting to actually, it's like the performance is starting, like this is going live on Broadway, people. So awesome. We're putting this into practice. Oh my God. This is also that card that looks like that woman. She's an actress. She's a comedic actress. I think her name is Kristen something, but she's also got like this really amazing, like high-pitched opera voice. But I think that's funny. And she was in, I feel like she was in one of those like Wizard of Oz musicals recently, the one about the witch or something. Like, what was her name? But you know what I'm talking about. Do you see the resemblance? So I love it. It's showtime, people. Put everything that you've been rehearsing into action. So I'm gonna pull up my brassiere because it is not meant to be a strapless. Okay, let us read Athena just so we don't miss any important notes. Do you guys watch Outlander? I'm a big fan, and I love how over dramatic Claire is and how she overpronounces everything, and how like her modern, like when she first got to Scotland and she traveled back in time, like spoiler alert, this like lady of the house is like trying to help her undressed, and she sees her modern bra and she's like, oh no, what do you got on under there? And Claire goes, it's my brassiere. It's French. She's just like, my brassiere. It's just a brassiere. Okay, Athena. Hold on. Athena, the Greek goddess of intellect and strategy, says, knowledge is power, and you are in a perfect position to gain greater clarity at this time. Your hard work is paying off, and everything you have learned about life has brought you to this moment in time. Your knowledge, logical choices, and intentions are aligned with divine will. You don't mind if I do. Your intellect is keen, and your mind is clear. You know what you have to do. Right now, the world is making sense. You don't have to question or debate it. You can take things at face value. If you think it adds up, it's because it does. Have courage, my love. Your most precious dreams are within reach. The goddess Athena will help. And that's encouraging because this is the first time this year, and it makes sense because it's like we're past that halfway point. And then we hit that mark of like the end of the year review spiritually. That it's like now we're like kind of in the coasting zone. And so it's like we've been in this like drive, hard work all year. And it's like maybe this is the moment where the tests start tapering off and things are just sort of presenting in a more straightforward way. Like up until September, question everything. And it's like the moment September happens, it's like once we get past Rosh Hashanah, it's like I think what's presenting to you will be fairly straightforward because you'll be out of this initiation period. Very exciting. That's good news. All right, what would be, who's our animal helper? Our animal helper. What animal spirit do we, oh, cheetah. Okay, cheetah came up earlier in the year, I'm pretty sure. This was a fire sign animal, known for its speed and agility and intelligence. I would say also like adaptability and the ability to really thrive in dry and harsh places, because the cheetah is like it's a desert cat. Cheetah. Okay. Solar force, action, achievement, masculine energy. The cheetah is the epitome of the solar forces at work. The sun doesn't shine onto the cheetah. It shines from inside this great creature and expands outward to brighten the universe. The energy within a cheetah personality is palpable to others, and they naturally attract an audience to bear witness to their remarkable achievements. Purpose and passion are the best fuel for a cheetah's forward momentum. So if you're lacking in those areas, reconnect to the why before you start running. Achieves anything, okay, so when in balance, achieves anything. Boundless energy. When out of balance, impatient, competitive. to bring into balance, reconnect with purpose. And that was also a theme through the year. It's like we need to stay passionate. We need to stay in like a high vibe about what we're doing as far as our goals and our spiritual growth. We need to keep it fun and lighthearted because it's our joy and it's our passion and it's our feelings of love and fulfillment that create more and more momentum. And it's like when we get stale or stagnant or crusty or salty, where we lose momentum. One quick glance back at the village, because I forgot to read the little side notes, and I think that they're always interesting. Okay. Returning to the village is as important as leaving it. This can be thought of as completion or an integration of what you've learned out in the world. Are you serious? The village moves with you, as it is more of a mindset than a physical place. And that is important to note that I feel like I've got something on my lip. Oh, that's a no. I think that's important to note that the village is totally a mindset that goes with you, and you have to like make it a point to cut the cords that keep the village mindset with you at all times. That is the challenge of leaving the village. It's not just that you move out west and follow your dreams in LA. You can't take that Midwestern mentality or that Southern mentality or that like I'm from Boston and this is how we do things mentality or wherever you're coming from. When you leave the village, there are so many people out there that feel like they need a big change in a transformation in their life, and they're like feeling bored or stagnant or dissatisfied, and they're always like thinking that they need to move to a new city. And it's like, my thing is, it's like, well, you're gonna get to that city and you're gonna be there. You're still you. You're just gonna be in a new set of like the same restaurant you're gonna end up bored with. You know what I mean? Like it's all gonna wear off. And then you are still gonna be you with your same tendencies and the same problems and probably with the same people around you, just in different flesh suits. And you're gonna be like, oh man, I guess now it's time for me to move to a new city. But then it's like, where are your roots? Like you're upending your life all the time. Like, how do you really move forward? It's like, it feels like you're moving, but you're not gaining anything. So the better thing to do is start with your consciousness. Start with leaving behind the consciousness of the village. And that way, if you do leave physically, you will have a new experience. Or if you stay physically, you can separate yourself from the village mindset and be the happily purple sheep and do your own thing and not be influenced by all the people around you. That's the hardest thing to do, is actually, if you're in the physical village, but you're leaving the mindset of the village, but you still have to be in the proximity of the village. They're just throwing stones at you all the time. That's the most difficult, right? But that's where you do the most work on yourself, and that's where your self-work changes the energy around you, and then it starts to spread. But it's not because you push it on others, it's just because they can tell you're different and they're exposed to you, and eventually it has an effect on them because your soul is so powerful and it's expanded, and when they're around that energy, it leaves an impression on them. And if you're positive and strong and consistent and sustaining in your energy, then you're going to be much more powerful and influential over their energy than their energy is on you, right? But it's a practice and it's a choice. When light, intimate, rooted, intergenerational, communal. When dark, small-minded, gossipy, trapped, restricted. Go deeper. Haruki Murakami's Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. Okay, let's pull some tarot cards, and then we'll pull some straightforward oracle cards, and then we will pull a message from the Winged Enchantment. So let's see what we can know about September. What do we need to know about our storyline in September? What themes will we be working with? What can we know for our highest good that would be the most helpful for us to stay on path, overcome our weakness, to transcend those, and embody our growth. Okay. Oh, great. So, all right, we have 3 of Pentacles, followed by 4 of Pentacles, followed by Knight of Swords, followed by the 10 of Swords, but in this deck there's 2 10 of Swords. There's one that's the traditional 10 of Swords, and then there's an extra 10 of Swords that says everything is fine, like it goes out of the way to say everything is fine. So this is the best 10 of Swords you can get. Okay, so as we are evaluating and putting our learned wisdom into practice, and feeling like super motivated, and I think that we're developing a really strong sense of that masculine self-worth where we feel confident and worthy of going after our goals and having our work be supported and recognized by others. And because of that, we are starting to get the attention that we have earned, or the acclaim, or people are wanting to, they're seeing what we're doing and they're impressed. They like your skill. They want to collaborate with you. They want to hire you for things. So this is about like early levels of mastery, like those beginning stages of success, and having people start to recognize you for your good works and your skills, and you're starting to be rewarded for that. And you might even be starting to have some monetary gain as well. So collaborations, this being with the village, you might be looking outside of your normal circle. You might be extending your circle or your platform. And then also it might be that you are circling back. I see this like this arrow at a circle there, circling back to the people that are from your village who maybe didn't give you a lot of credit before, or maybe they're finally starting to get it too now. So you've stayed determined to be yourself, and now people are finally starting to see what you've been seeing all along. And so 4 of Pentacles has to do with establishing security and stability, but it can also give you, like, it can also result in like being overly controlling, or like trying to control the situation because you're trying to keep a hold on everything that you've like gained so far. So while you've established the security in your certainty, be careful not to get attached to that certainty and stability, right? When things start being easier to, like when it was like things are more straightforward than they have been, it's like, okay, so don't get super attached to that feeling. Don't get super attached to the moment that you're in. When things are going well, when they finally start going well and you like can let your guard down, it feels really good. And so then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose this. Oh my gosh, oh no, it's gonna slip out from my fingers any minute. And then you start getting this foreboding joy. You start looking around every corner for the bottom to drop out or the next shoe to drop. So you start getting really controlling, and then it starts putting a lot of rigidity in your vibration, and you start becoming dissonant. You're not resonating with what you normally resonate with anymore. You're becoming too not fluid enough to like even vibrate with the things that are authentic to you. So loosen up your grip on the illusion of control. Keep practicing surrender and certainty, right? Let go and allow for spirit to play a role in co-creating this with you. You don't have to micromanage every detail. Yeah, and so then back to that whole masculine sense of drive, of self-worth, of inspiration, of motivation. The Knight of Swords is a very youthful, masculine energy of sharp intellect, attention to detail, the ability to see what needs to be done and act very quickly and decisively, and they're very gung-ho. They're like rushing in to help. So things could be happening very quickly this month, and you might be well served by remembering that you don't have to like waste a lot of time and energy second guessing things and being an indecision. You can be very decisive because things are what they appear to be. It's just that your foreboding joy is making you question everything, and it's trying to make you want to hold on to a sense of control, but that will only serve to keep you trapped and stagnant and stuck where you are. So let go of control, and that will move this energy forward very, very quickly, and will allow for Knight of Swords energy to come in and help you to go forward in this situation. Now, I think that we're at the end of something that has been difficult and challenging for us for a very long time, but it may have been another level of repeating this lesson in some other, like at another higher level this year that's finally come to an end. That's the end of a difficult period, and all's well that ends well. Whatever has happened and whatever is playing out right now, it is for the best. And now you can just relax and regroup and know that it's only gonna get better from here, and that this is the end of a difficult period. And it was a long and hard, arduous cycle to go through, and it was a very difficult lesson to learn and to embody and be tested through. But you've made it through the hardest part. You've made it through the tests. You've made it through the darkness of the initiation. And now that everyone in the village has stabbed you in the back and left you for dead, you can now rise from the ashes and leave the village without looking back. Complete closure. No, just kidding. But like everything really is fine, and you're gonna be feeling refreshed and ready for a new year. This is the end of difficulty, right? And going forward, it's going to be a lighter energy, an easier, more fluid, harmonious energy. Oh my God, I picked up the deck, and like the one on the bottom that got left behind was creation phase 3. It's like we've been in creation phase 3 all year. I'm gonna put that in and see if it comes out if we shuffle. All right, let's get some clarification from the straightforward oracle about what we need to know about September. This is my own oracle deck, you guys, that I've been writing for a while. Ooh, keep the love tank full. And as of this video being filmed in, it's now February, I'm like 20 cards away from being finished with the first draft. Yay! All right, so it's going to be important in September that we have a full love tank, because like we were talking about earlier, or hopefully it wasn't on the other video that I just filmed before this, but everything that we create, it's flavored from the seed level of consciousness from which the energy was put into motion. So if you send an email to someone and you're frantic about it, or frantic about something else, even though you may have worded it just the right way and put just the right emojis in it, it's not gonna land right. Or if you are in a stressed out mindset and you are desperate to find a new job and you send your resume to someone in that mindset and that energy, the seed level of that anxiety and that stress is going to cause chaos, and you're not going to have like a good experience getting that job, or you may not get it at all. So if you're going to say sit down to write something or work on something or create something, then make sure you're in a positive state of mind. If you're gonna send a text to someone for any reason, make sure that you're in a positive state of giving and not attached to receiving back, right? Are you doing this from a generous place, or are you taking energy, taking light, you know, wanting to, you know, get high on their attention for you, right? Or what do they have to give you, or what can they do for you? Like, make sure that you're not in that mindset. Make sure that you are full before you reach out. Make sure that you are full before you pitch your product, your idea, your book, your manuscript, your whatever it is, your screenplay. Make sure that you are fully satisfied and confident in yourself, and that you do not need whatever the outcome is at all. You're surrendered to it, and let the chips fall where they may, because if it's meant to be, it'll be. If not, it won't be. So if it's a fit, then great. But when you keep your love tank full, whether it has to do with opportunities, whether it has to do with friends, whether it has to do with family, whether it has to do with lovers, if your tank is full and you're not needy from other people, then you're going to have a lot better relationships with them, right? Because there's going to be a freedom there. It's going to be a real exchange of admiration and love, and not a transaction of energy, of quid pro quo. So you don't want to be looking outside of yourself to fill your tank. You want to be able to tune in and get that fulfillment and satisfaction and that ease and that sense of inner peace from your relationship to source, your higher power, and also your relationship with yourself, because you know how to surround yourself with the things that light you up and keep your love tank full. You know how to treat yourself to a good meal, to nourish yourself, to clean your environment, to pay your bills. You don't need someone else to take care of you or make you feel validated or special or like you have permission, right? Because you already have that. So you're safe to let people in your life, because you can actually say, you know what, if you're not improving my life, then you don't really need to be in it. You know, I'm good on my own, right? And if not, if your love tank's empty, then that makes you in danger, because you think that you need to fill your life up with whoever, you know, you can get in it, right? Because you feel like you need to fill a void, a space. You need the attention. You need a warm comfort blanket, you know, because your tank is empty, and you're looking for that person to give you that sense of security, that sense of belonging, right? But really, you have to cultivate it within yourself, because if you don't have it within yourself, no person is going to give it to you. No matter how much they try to make you feel like you belong, it will never satiate you. It'll never be enough. You'll never really believe it. You have to believe it in order to feel the effects of someone else actually feeling like you belong, right? Okay, Four of Pentacles. Underneath the Four of Pentacles, we got you're going in circles. So, negative patterns, cycles, stuck in a loop, repeating the same mistake, time for a new story. So whatever it is right now that you are trying to control, you're being triggered, and it's probably by a familiar pattern that you have been working on transcending for a long time. And so you're back in familiar territory so that you can transcend this. And you can approach it differently, right? You can rise above what your natural tendency is, what comes easy for you, and you can grow past that out of your comfort zone into where you're being evolved to, right? And so when you come back around to this lesson, think about how you've always met it before and the results that it's gotten you up until now, and then tune into your higher self and tune into the wisdom of your experience. What has Spirit been asking you to do? What kinds of judgment calls has Spirit been asking you to make? What kinds of boundaries has Spirit been asking you to set? There's clearly something to do with the fact that it has to do with other people's projections and influence on you, and your ability to be secure enough in yourself to step outside of the village and actually go after what you want without holding yourself back, so that in fear that you're going to be exiled or abandoned or alone forever. You have to be willing to go out alone on an adventure away from the village. All right. What else do we need to know for September? Stop obsessing. Okay, so part of the lesson, part of the pattern that you're being called to overcome is putting too much energy into something that is not returning that energy to you. Making something more important than it is. Making the stakes higher than they are. You're obsessing about something, and because you're obsessing about something, it's becoming more and more important to you because you're more and more invested in it because you put all this energy into it. And what you focus on and put energy on grows. So if you're focusing on something that's making you feel frantic and your love tank is not full, then you're going to be creating something that's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be fruitful. It's not going to produce something from a seed level of fulfillment and continue to produce fulfillment. It's going to be from a seed level of fear, scarcity, lack, and doubt. So stop obsessing, because obsessing implies fear, lack, and doubt. Obsessing is your attachment and your illusion that you have control over anything. And so in order to overcome that, and we have to demonstrate faith and certainty in Source, that Source has it under control. In order to receive a manifestation, in order to be in flow and in harmony with our life, we can't be all blocked up. And when we're trying to control, we're blocked up because we're not in trust, we're not in faith, right? So we're in this rigid state where we're closed off, we're not allowing. So the best thing you can do right now is demonstrate your self-worth, all of your practice, all of your knowledge, all of your skill by putting your focus on things that are important to you and to your purpose, and stop obsessing about whatever it is that you're obsessing with, because the lesson to overcome is just to take your power back, right? And it's more of like, it starts in your mind, because your mental focus, when you obsess, you give your power to that thing, and then your emotions get all tangled up into it too. And it throws you off your game. So you're being trained to stay on your game, to set your vibrational thermometer and your emotional well-being and leave it there, and nothing else can affect it. So the key to having control over that, or to begin to have control over it, is to stop obsessing. And then Shabbat came out when it fell in my lap in the pile. And so that makes sense, because, you know, there's a lot of ritual and refraining from work this month, so that we can give ourselves the best chance to shift our focus, to stop obsessing on our negativity and on our hunger and our thirst, and instead find rest and renewal and connection to the light of Source. Give it a rest. Like Spirit is literally saying with Shabbat, and the stop obsessing, just give it a rest, right? Put your focus on connecting to Spirit in self-reflection, and leave the rest for Spirit to work out. Okay, and let's get a message from our bird friends from the Winged Enchantment. Who's this? Swallow 34. Oh, it's an African swallow. What's up, 34? Okay, that was from Monty Python. I am Swallow, the direction changer. I am the swiftness of every great move. I am the exploration of new angles. I am the bold agility you need to catch what is yours. I am the adaptability required for new experiences. What you seek eludes you, and I am here to help you find out why. Step outside of yourself and take a longer look. You may have missed a shortcut, or have taken one by mistake. I am the hope of new pathways. I am the right place at the right time. I am the most efficient use of skill. You are encountering choice and the magnitude of its potential. Sometimes the best decisions require the least reflection. I am spontaneity of a single fleeting moment where everything can change. I am the determination to cross difficult terrain. Trust your intuition. You are the energy of higher purpose. You are the power to outmaneuver. You are pure instinct. You are swallow. Oh, I mean, the Village new experiences coming up. We had the it's like being at the right place at the right time, and like seeing what's been eluding you. I don't know, like so many, being determined to like push through the difficulty, like all of these cards I feel like were like summarized in that message right there. But overall, I feel good. I feel like we're at a turning point in September. I feel like the worst is behind us, but this is the moment where we finally get a chance to really move through an old lesson and pass a test in a new way and really move beyond it again. And maybe for the last time, hopefully. But everything is fine, so stop obsessing and trust. Trust, trust, trust. All right, y'all. Well, good night. Let's see what happens coming up in October. All right, y'all. Good luck in September. Shabbat Shalom for today. When you're watching this, it might be Rosh Hashanah, and let's see, Yom Kippur coming up. So Chag Sameach, and take care.